Welcome back to the Lone Ranger Radio Show. Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage. If you have questions for the Lone Ranger, you can call me, Orlando, all the way up to St. Augustine, 407-706-3313, or text. Now, listen, while I'm on the air, sometimes I answer, sometimes I don't. This depends what I got on my plate. Tampa, 813-213-4009. Or get your application started at webringyouhome.com. If you'd be kind enough to go to Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger, on your YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. And you can see all these shows at your convenience and on my YouTube page. Or you can also check out any of my social media, because I do social media. Facebook is the Woodburn Team at Cross Country Mortgage. Instagram is at Woodburn Team. YouTube, again, is Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. And X is at Cross Country WP for Winter Park. So any of those you can reach. And I'd be grateful that you subscribe to my channels. It would mean a lot to me. And it helps me in my views. So helps me all the way around. So we had a lot to cover. We talked about my leapfrog class, that if you want to invest in real estate, you better get into this class, because I'm going to give you the down and dirty on this one. And listen, I'm going to tell you, you would pay $2,500 to come into a class. It's actually $25. And the only reason I charge is for two reasons. First of all, I don't have cancellations when you pay me in advance. Second of all, I'm going to give you food and drinks. Okay. But no kids, please. No kids. January 22nd, 6:30 to 8, Winter Park, Yale House on Lee Road. So register right away at webringyouhome.com. I'll show you how to get your generational wealth so you don't have to retire all worried about how much money you're going to have to retire on. You better start now. If you're in your 20s, I'm going to tell you, if somebody said, I'm going to give you the golden egg, but you have to follow this golden egg and you have to polish it and you have to take good care of it. But I'm going to give you a golden egg that's guaranteed that when you retire, you're going to have so much money, you can't spend it all, and you'll be able to leave some to your children and grandchildren. If somebody told you that, would you do it? Or would you continue to procrastinate like you've already been doing? Would you do it? People say they would, but you know what? I don't believe a lot of you would. I honestly don't. I think people say that they want things in life, but they don't put themselves in alignment for the things that they want. You have to put yourself in alignment. You have to do the things that you say you want. So if you said, hey, I want a shiny new red Corvette, that new super cool looking model, well, then put yourself in alignment for it. You have to do that. But I guarantee you, you can have everything in life that you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And that's the secret sauce. It's not about you. It's about them. That's why this show is designed to help you, not me, to help you get a better mortgage, negotiate a better deal on real estate, save more money, build generational wealth, help other people build generational wealth. That's why I'm here. I mean, come on. There's very little else I can contribute to this planet, but I can tell you how to make and save money. That's what I'm very good at. And I'm not a financial advisor. I don't claim to be. I can't give you stock tips or anything like that. I can only share my experiences. But I think my experiences, they really do hold a lot of weight, because my experiences have had many failures, but they've had more successes. How about yours? Have you had some failures along the way and some successes? Are you the type that has a failure and you throw the towel in because it doesn't work, or do you go back and try it again? Are you a fighter? Or are you just getting punched around? I mean, we have to get out of life what we put into it. And I'm telling you, I don't think that enough people really put the effort. But if you, like, for instance, I'm in the mortgage business, so I help people get financing to buy homes. I help people refinance to pull money out of their house. So that's what I do. And that's how I can help you. But I also am smart enough to know that you have other options. So you could check Rocket Mortgage. I just had a guy in my office, wonderful guy, listens to the show. His name's George. He's always having a great day. I love this guy. My staff loves him. Comes into the office. He's like, I just like to see people in person. And I'm like, George, that's what I'm here for. But listen, these are the type of people that listen to my show, that come here and they count on me, and they rely on me for accurate information and to guide them in the right direction. And he said, listen, after I close, I want to be able to sell my other house and then pay this one off. But I don't know, should I pay it off or should I reinvest the money? Should I pay part of it down? And I said, George, I want to investigate that with you when your house is under contract, because my answer might be different tomorrow than it is today, because it depends on what's going on economically. We have to make shifts in our economic decisions. So when to buy, when to sell, when to hold, right? When to flip. Those are all things that you have to take into consideration. When to be in the stock market, when not to be in the stock market. You know, those are all things that we have to do. Right now, I'm going to tell you something. If you don't put money in the market, you're a nut. You're making a mistake. Move as much money as you can into the market. It's going to grow for the next 4 years or so. And be in real estate, because right now, and here's my message to all you buyers. You could not have a better signal. You actually have the market knocking you in the forehead going, buy now. But you have so much apprehension because interest rates aren't as low as you'd like them to be. Well, the national average over the last 40 years is 7.5%. And the national average interest rate right now is 6.9. So it's much lower than the national average over the last 40 years. But you're so spoiled with 3.5% fixed rates that you'll never buy because you're going to wait for something that will never come. And so you'll completely miss out on all the opportunities. My first house, I got in a monthly adjustable rate at 9.5%, and it adjusted every month. One of the best things I ever did. I'm telling you, that house, it was my first house, and man, I made a ton of money. I doubled my money on that house. Now, I did sell that one, and I'm glad I did. There's some houses that I have sold, some I wish I didn't, and some I wish I would have bought when I didn't buy. I've made some major mistakes. I share that with you when I'm teaching my classes. I don't paint a picture of things that people can't achieve. Listen, I'm a 10th grade dropout. Okay. I was orphaned at 15 years old. Mom died at 15. Dad died 8 months later. Okay. Orphaned. All my family lived out of the country. Out of the country. I was shipped to Canada. I lived with an uncle. He owned a junkyard. My dad was a builder. Okay. My dad was a prominent builder in Maitland. We were not rich. We were middle class all the way, lived in Maitland. He built like 25 homes a year, did pretty well. Hardworking man, but that's how I grew up. But I was expected to get a good education, go to college, but life happened. And I lost mom and dad at 15 and never finished school. Never went back. I tried. I actually did go back, took a few classes, just wasn't for me. And then I realized that if I didn't get my act together and quit screwing around and doing things I shouldn't be doing, you know, that's what I was doing back then. I was not behaving well. I had a chip on my shoulder. I thought that the world was out to get me. I had been abandoned by my parents. I mean, essentially, just because they died doesn't mean they didn't abandon you. You're abandoned no matter how you perceive it that way. And it was a form of abandonment for me. But let me tell you something. When you're 15 years old and you have to make a living for yourself because you don't have anything else, and you're dirt poor and you can't eat and you can't feed your dog and you don't have enough gas to put in your motorcycle to get to work. That was me. That was me. So I realized that it was up to me to change that. It's not up to anybody else. It's not up to the economy. It's not up to interest rates. It's not up to your parents. It's not up to your teacher. It's not up to anybody. It's up to you. And if you don't get your act together now, I'm going to tell you something, you never will. And all you do is make excuses for yourself. All you're doing is hurting yourself. Look at, we all have challenges in life. Some of them are bigger than others. But I'm going to tell you something. If you don't brush it off, rub some dirt on it, shake it off, do whatever it is you got to do and get down to business and make it happen, you will go into retirement like many people I see sitting across my desk looking for a mortgage, and they can't even qualify because they don't have enough money. They don't have enough income. They're living off Social Security. They co-sign for their grandkids to get a car that defaulted on it. Don't co-sign, first of all. Show people how to plant crops. Don't plant them for them. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Listen, I make a very handsome living. I didn't always, but I do now. I make a handsome living. I could easily afford to have bought my kids brand new cars coming out of high school, graduating from college, but I didn't. And I didn't because I didn't think it taught them values. So I made an agreement that I would pay half. They had to come up with half. So my son bought his first car was $1,250. I bought it at the auction, and it was a piece of junk, believe me, but it had cold air and it ran. Okay. And he bought it. He ended up selling it for $2,500 like 3 years later. And my daughter came and she said, Dad, I get the same thing, right? And I said, absolutely. Well, I thought she'd end up buying a $1,200 or $2,000 car, and she ends up finding a $9,000 car. So, but I agreed to pay half. So I had to fork up half the money for it. So, and she got the neighbor backed into it on the weekend, believe it or not. So now I got to get that into the body shop, but I don't mean to digress. I have serious ADD as well, too. So as you can tell, like I'm a squirrel. So let's get back on track. And we were talking about me, and we were talking about the challenges that I went through. And I only tell you that so that you can relate, that you're not listening to somebody on the air that was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I was born with good values. My parents had good values, but they weren't wealthy. They were okay, but they weren't wealthy. So I had to learn, and I had to start from scratch. I had to start from scratch because I had no money. I had a car repossessed. I had a motorcycle repossessed. I had a boat repossessed. I overspent money. I was doing drugs. I was doing things I shouldn't have done. And I realized that if I didn't figure out how to get my life going in the right direction, that's what my life was destined for. Where are you? Where are your kids? Where are your grandchildren? Are they going in that direction? Are you worried about them? Because you should be. And you got to get people like that in front of people like me that they can relate to. Bring them to my leapfrog class on January 22nd, 6:30. Register at webringyouhome.com. I'll share my story. Okay. I'm not using it as motivation. I'm just being real and genuine. You know, it was embarrassing for me to tell people that I didn't even have a high school education. I lied about it for most of my life because I was so embarrassed about it. And then I realized that I was doing a disservice to the people that really trusted me. And that's when I became real. And that's when I became genuine. And that's when I started being real with my clients and my kids and my employees. My name is Bruce Woodburn. I'm the Lone Ranger. You can call or text 407-706-3313 or 813-213-4009. You can get your application started right now at webringyouhome.com. That's webringyouhome.com. I'll be back in 5 minutes with more of the Lone Ranger radio show. We're going to talk about what interest rates are trending toward and where your opportunities are. I'll be back in 5.